It was getting pretty late in the royal woods of Michigan. The Louds were just finishing up their dinner that their father, Lynn Loud, sir, had made for them. Dad, this spaghetti is literally delicious, said Lori while putting her fork on her plate because she was done eating. Well, thank you, Lori, said their dad while looking at Lori. I worked hard on it. Yeah, it's amazing, said Lincoln while smiling at his dad. Right, Clyde? Lincoln had invited Clyde to spend the night with him, and Lincoln got a little bored and wanted to spend time with a friend. Yeah, it's great, said Clyde while agreeing with Lincoln. Well, it's getting pretty late, said their mom. Mom, read aloud. You guys should be getting to bed. All right, Mom, replied the Loud kids. When they all got up and started to walk upstairs to their rooms, Lincoln yawned and Clyde yawned right after. Ready for bed, buddy? Lincoln asked Clyde. You know it, buddy, Clyde answered. Then they both went inside Lincoln's room. Sorry it's not super big, but you know that my room is a living closet, said Lincoln awkwardly. Oh no, it's fine how it is, Clyde replied, reassuring Lincoln that he didn't care about the size of the room. They both got into bed and pulled up the covers. Good night, Clyde, said Lincoln while starting to close his eyes. Good night, Lincoln, Clyde replied while taking off his glasses. Soon after, they fell asleep. Lincoln and Clyde were both sleeping so peacefully that they both started to dream. Little clouds started floating above their heads, one for Lincoln and one for Clyde. Two little clouds mixed up together formed a big dream cloud. This meant that they were both having the same dream. The next thing Lincoln knew was that his room, talking to the audience like he usually does. Oh, hello, said Lincoln while looking at the camera. I was just about to go downstairs and read some of my Ace Savvy and One-Eyed Jack comics. Follow me. But as Lincoln started walking towards the door, he heard knocking coming from behind it. Come in? Lincoln said, being confused. Suddenly the door slammed open fast. Clyde rushed into the doorway and into Lincoln's room. Hey, buddy, said Clyde loudly. Oh, hi, Clyde, said Lincoln, kind of ran out of breath. I thought you were Lola or something. Nope, it's just me, Clyde replied with a smile. So what are you up to? Clyde asked Lincoln. I was just going downstairs to read some of my Ace Savvy comics, Lincoln replied happily. Oh, that's cool, Clyde replied, getting really excited. Can I join you? Of course you can. Lincoln stopped. Wait, I don't remember inviting you here, Lincoln said in a suspicious tone. Come to think of it, I don't remember walking to your house today, Clyde said as in a suspicious tone. How did I get here so fast? It feels like we've been placed here randomly. Then they both heard something. Huh? What's that? They both heard simultaneously. They both looked around and they saw their bodies in bed asleep. They also realized that they were inside of a dream cloud. They poked their heads outside the cloud and looked for their real-life selves. Oh yeah, that's right, Lincoln said to Clyde. I invited you to spend the night. I'm guessing we both went to sleep and started dreaming, and now we're having the same dream together. Oh, I guess you were right, Clyde replied to Lincoln. Just then they went back inside the dream cloud and continued talking. You know, we're probably going to be here for a while, Clyde continued. What do you want to do? Said Lincoln while rubbing his chin. I know, let's read my Ace and Jack comics. Good idea, said Clyde. Clyde replied and agreeing with Lincoln. They both went into the door and into the hallway. Lincoln and Clyde started walking towards the stairs in the hallway. Suddenly Lori came out of her bedroom on the phone with Bobby. No way, Bobby. That's so cool, Lori said while excited. Oh, hi, Lincoln and Clyde. Lori? Clyde stuttered while his nose began to bleed. Oh, not again, Lincoln said, kind of annoyed. He knows Clyde's nose bleeds when he sees Lori, so he rushes him to the bathroom and gives Clyde some tissues. Phew, that was close. Thanks, Lincoln, said Clyde. No problem, buddy, Lincoln replied. Now let's keep walking. They almost got to the stairs, but when Lola came out of her bedroom. Hey, Clyde, how does my makeup look? Is it brand new? Lola said. It looks great, Clyde replied to Lola. Thanks, Lola said as she went back to her bedroom. All right, now let's go, said Lincoln as they started to get annoyed because his sisters kept stopping him and Clyde from going down the stairs. They finally made it down the stairs and started to walk into them. Just then they made it to the living room. All right, we're here, said Lincoln. My comics are on the table. Let's grab them and start reading. Clyde and Lincoln both stared into read Lincoln's Ace and Jack comics. They were both just reading, out of the ordinary. Man, I wish Ace and Jack were real, said Clyde while he was reading. Yeah, Lincoln replied. I wish we could meet them in person. That'd be amazing. As soon as Lincoln said that, they started to hear a rumbling. Clyde, was that your stomach? Lincoln asked Clyde. No, Clyde replied. Then the rumbling got louder, and the house started to shake. Oh no, it's an earthquake, shouted Clyde. But before they went to take cover, an Ace and Jack comic on a table began to shake. What's going on? Said Lincoln and Clyde. Then a huge purple portal formed about the cover of the book, and Lincoln and Clyde were so confused. While they were staring at the portal, it started to knock them both up. They both screamed as they went inside the portal that there was the top of the Ace and Jack comic. The next thing they knew is that they were outside. They weren't in front of Lincoln's or Clyde's house. Where are we? Clyde asked to Lincoln. I have no idea, Lincoln. Clyde, Lincoln replied. They both looked around to their surroundings and they found out something strange. Everything looked different. It looked like it came from a comic. Clyde, said Lincoln. I think Clyde joined as they both said, inside the comic book. Right after they said that, they heard a man shout from the distance. Lincoln, Clyde, shouted the man. Lincoln and Clyde both looked at each other in confusion. Huh? When they heard shouting again, this time it was louder. Lincoln, Clyde, the man called once again. Both Lincoln and Clyde looked at the front of them. To their surprise, they saw a man standing in front of them. They were able to get a closer look at the man, and they both gasped. Turns out, and it was Ace Savvy. Oh my gosh, you're Ace Savvy, Lincoln and Clyde both said while being filled with thrill. All of a sudden pressure. Excitement pressure is what it means. Yep, that's right, Ace replied to the two boys. I have a question, said Lincoln. What is it? Replied Ace. How did we get here? Lincoln asked while being confused. Yeah, said Clyde. Also, why did that portal suck us into the comic book? Well, allow me to explain, said Ace. Then he began to explain to the boys what was going on. You see, my sidekick, One-Eyed Jack, and I need some help. There are these unknown villain, and we have no idea who his name is yet. Unfortunately, we both don't know who he is or what he's doing. But apparently, he's sending out some other villains to try to ruin our world. I'm sorry to say, but if our world gets ruined, there won't be any more new comics. No! Shouted Lincoln and Clyde at the top of their lungs. We love Ace and Jack comics books, shouted Clyde. We can't let that happen, said Lincoln. And we won't, said Ace, and then he continued talking. Anyway, I think we're getting off track. Let me continue. I was looking around to hope to find help, but then when I heard you guys talking, you guys wished that you could see me and my sidekick in person, so here I am. I used a gadget to make the portal so you guys will get here. Also, I forgot to say, welcome to my comic book world. Thanks, said Lincoln. Yeah, it's awesome, replied Clyde. So what do you guys want help of finding this unknown villain? Ace asked with the two boys. Of course, replied Lincoln. Yeah, anything for you, Ace, replied Clyde. Great, Ace replied. We'll start tomorrow. Wait, why tomorrow? Asked Clyde. Yeah, why can't we start today? Asked Lincoln. You guys have to go back home, replied Ace, answering their questions. Oh yeah, Lincoln replied to Clyde. This is still a dream, remember? Oh yeah, Clyde replied. We have to wake up in the morning, plus I have to get back home to my dad's before they get worried. See you guys tomorrow night, said Ace while waving. Bye, Ace, said both Lincoln and Clyde while waving. Then everything went silent. Lincoln, Clyde, shouted a random voice. Lincoln and Clyde both opened their eyes, and when their eyes adjusted to the light, Clyde put on his glasses and they looked to the left of them. It was Lana. Oh, hey, Lana, said Lincoln. Get up, you guys, it's time for breakfast, said Lana. Oh, yeah, thank you for telling us, replied Lincoln. No problem, Lana replied. Just then she went downstairs. After she was gone, Lincoln turned to Clyde and said, Remember what Ace said? Yep, said Clyde as he replied. He said we'll start tomorrow. I guess you're coming back to sleep over another night, Lincoln said. Yep, seems like it, replied Clyde happily. Cool, replied Lincoln. Let's go downstairs. I'm hungry. I couldn't agree more, Clyde replied while smiling. Then they both got out of bed and rushed downstairs to eat breakfast. And that, my little pretties, was The Loud House, Ace and Jack's Adventures, Chapter 1, The Dream. A Loud House fanfiction written by Tay11. I want to thank you so much, Tay11, for the story. Even though this is Chapter 1 of it, the person says to me on email to narrate it and review it. So I'm going to be doing such. Now, Tay11, I like this fanfiction. This was actually a really decent and good startup to a Loud House fanfiction. Although I do see a couple other ones that were good, like Skyrunner's story, Enough is Enough. Like, I remember when that story came around. Like, when that story came around, you know, I remember before Skyrunner closed his account, he had, like, I think up to chapter 12. I think it was 12 or 13 chapters he had up or something like that before it got closed down. But I could definitely say that this story was actually really good. Like, it's a good startup. I can definitely say, Tay11, you did a pretty awesome job on having this as a good startup. Like, the concept of itself for it all was just flat out beautifully. Like, a lot of Loud House stories now these days, like creepypastas, it's not as good as it used to be. Now, I don't know why the Loud House stories now these days are not as great as they used to be. I don't understand why people do tend to do that. But that's just something that I can just be honest. Like, I don't understand why, but it does happen from time to time. But this story actually does really good. Like, the grammar of this story was pretty good. The sentence structuring was good so far. The storyline, everything about it was just flat out amazing. Like, this story actually did a lot of time and effort. There was definitely time and effort into the story, which I can definitely say there was a lot of great stuff. Now, the grammar of it was good. The sentence structuring, the paragraph structuring, the concept was interesting, and the storyline of how it all went out. It was actually very nice and very beautiful. I could definitely say that this story actually did pretty good. Now, is there anything else that do I have anything negative to say about the story? The one thing, if I have to say, that I wasn't too crazy on would have to be the punctuation marks. Now, as you could tell, maybe throughout, parts of it, it was kind of a little hard to read. I think there was a few parts of the story that there were a few run-on sentences and stuff like that. So the story was a little hard to read. So it's kind of why I kind of stuttered just a little bit. I believe there were maybe one or two run-on sentences, but I could definitely say that this one was actually pretty cool. But other than that, the story was just flat out amazing. But I can definitely say. Now, is there anything else I have to say? Nope, I don't think I have anything else to say. But what I could suggest to do is maybe fix up the grammar. No, not the grammar was not a problem, but the sentence structuring. I believe there were a few run-on sentences. So the story was a bit hard to read. So what I could suggest is maybe fix up the sentence structuring just a little bit with the proper punctuation marks and stuff like that. But other than that, the story was just flat out amazing. I can definitely say you did a pretty good job. And that's something I can definitely say now, is that you did great. So that's probably the only reason why this rating is the way it is. But it's still pretty good. I can definitely say that. You did pretty good. And I could definitely say right now that this story actually did really good. And I definitely say now this story was actually pretty good. And now I cannot wait for chapter 2 of this story, Tay11. Like, I really hope you finish the story soon, because I love to read one of your other stories. It's pretty cool so far, and I love this Loud House story, so I hope you do more of those. Okay. Now, I think I kind of explained what I liked and disliked about it, so I'm going to be wrapping up this review. Now, like I'm going to say right now, and like I always continue to say, this is simply my own personal opinion, and if you disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these fanfictions and creepypastas. This is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of this chapter is a 10 out of... I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. Simply a 9 because the sentence structuring could be fixed up just a little bit, but then other than that, it would have got a 10 out of 10. But it's still a good startup. I can definitely say that. A decent one at that, because it's a pretty good story so far. And I really do encourage you to make more chapters of this, because I would really love to see those. Now, anyways, what did you all think about this fanfiction? Did you all enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this fanfiction a lot better. Leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you're brand new here to this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload so you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out of here. And I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Peace out.